There was a study done by the University of North Carolina, and they were trying to figure out why racism in the South that comes from, some Caucasians that participate in that, why they have this horrible racial bias toward black people. They actually wanted to do a study on that because they were trying to figure out that phenomenon. I don't know why they have to study that. I mean, it's kind of simple answer to that, but we'll get into this. So they're stating that they tend to have higher rates of racial bias toward blacks, any place that black people are at, of course, in numerous numbers. Now, it says that the study published in the Journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences concluded that white people in states or counties most dependent upon slavery prior to the Civil War displayed higher levels of pro-white implicit bias today. As their according to researchers, suggests implicit bias may be better understood as a cognitive manifestation of both historical and structural inequalities than as something that's solely a feature of individual minds. The reason why that hatred has continued is because I told you guys before, they teach their children to hate black people. Understand that. I was on a racist website and they were talking about, because I go there, I want to see what they're talking about, as much as they come here and hear what I'm talking about, okay? So I went there and they was trying to talk to each other to say, how do you talk to your kids about blacks? And they were trying to get advice from each other how to make their children hate black people. I mean, it was a very sick thing. And they were saying that, well, my child got black friends and I hate it. I don't want them around blacks. And they're trying to corrupt their children with that evil. So this is something that they think about and discuss on these sites. So they said that upon the data from the 1860 census, which included county by county percentage of the population that was enslaved, and modern day scores of unconscious racial bias logged by Harvard University Project Implicit, researchers found that racial bias by whites was directly associated with 1860 slave populations, but not with modern black populations. Moreover, the study revealed that states with larger populations of enslaved blacks in 1860 have higher rates of anti-black animus among white residents. These areas not only experience higher levels of racial segregation today, but also have higher percentages of African Americans living in poverty. So anywhere that black people add in numbers, especially in the South, they want to make sure to cause problems for black folks, be extra racist, and make sure these black people stay in poverty. And the reason why they want black people in poverty is because white supremacy is built off of black people's condition, okay? It wasn't built off the condition of Arabs or Indians or Native Americans or Hispanics. It was built off the condition of black people. If black people are poor and destitute, they're happy. Black people do well for themselves, they're angry because that goes against the system they built. I mean, they wanted black people to stay a slave. They don't want black people to be successful, have more money than them, can travel, stamping their passports. They don't like all that. No matter what they say, they don't like it because they make them feel some sort of way. Because I'm like, wait a minute, I got a whole system built for me and I'm not even living like that black person living. I'm not driving what they're driving. I'm not traveling the world like these black people are starting to travel the world now. I'm stuck in my little town that I know everybody, can't get nowhere, but yet these black people are living good, dressing good, happier than what they used to be. Oh yeah, they got a problem with that. Studies also show that researchers believe that the worst off blacks are due to systematic inequality. The worse they're perceived by local whites who view black people as less educated, skilled, or hardworking than other advantaged groups, according to the Pacific Standard. Meaning that the condition of a lot of black people is not just a fault of their own. Oh, they didn't want to work, they was being lazy. No, not at all. That could be some people's story that they didn't want to work, but they don't get a fair shot. We don't, as black people in America. We have to fight and work hard for everything that we have. We have to be twice as smart, twice as better than they have to be. But that's a good thing at the end of the day, because when things go away and their privilege don't work for them anymore, which is crumbling every day, okay? And when you have to actually compete off of your own merits and not off of, oh, I'm this color, so I get an advantage, you get exposed every time. This is why they will get so upset about, they want Trump in there because they want to restore their privilege. Notice a lot of them say, oh, the 50 was a good time because, yeah, they had a lot of things. They had, black people had no civil rights at all. so they can do whatever they want to black people. They still had all these manufacturing jobs. They was in control. They can do and say what they want. They can kill, rape, pillage, steal, and hardly nothing happened to them when they do it to black people. It was a good time for them. Black people shining their shoes, working in their house. They love that. Oh, they love that. Ever since black people start working in their house and being a slave, that's all of a sudden black people start being lazy. So based off this study, they want lawmakers to not try to change the minds of these people, but change society itself by modifying, the environments, which is true. You don't have to change a person that has racist views. I'm not here to make people stop being racist. That's a waste of my time. That should be a waste of your time. Never sit up there and try to convince someone not to be racist. They chose that life. Leave them alone. Focus on the people that want the knowledge. Focus on the people that say a person don't want to be that way anymore. So they watching and listening to you so they can figure out ways to get the evil out of them. That's fine. If that kind of person come up to you and actually want your help to get loose of that evil. But we should never waste our time just actively trying to change them. No, only thing, like they said, you have to change the environment to get that behavior out. So they also stated that education is the key to combating racist attitudes. That is part of it because most of them are ignorant, but you also have to try to, find a way to make it where parents that teach their children that kind of hate, that's a form of child abuse because you're ruining that child. That child could turn into something that you wasn't. Yeah, you probably hated black people, but you probably wouldn't kill a black person. But what if you teaching your kid to hate black people and he become the next Dylan Roof because of you? So they also suggested in this study that they teach in school early about differences of people, have diversity, inclusion, etc. My thing is this. I agree with the study 100%. I live in the South. I know exactly what they're talking about. Shoot, they could just ask somebody black. We could have told you everything that's in this study. It wouldn't have been that hard for you to figure out. Not at all. But the thing is, when it comes to racism, that's what they hold on to because that's one of the things that they actually created is part of their culture is to do that. And so when they get to the point they can't hate black people or they don't like black people getting a certain amount of power, it becomes an issue all of a sudden. It becomes definitely an issue because you don't have black people to oppress and what else you got to oppress? Because they don't go out oppressing other people as long as black people are around. But this study here, another case for reparations. That's what I say. You're just proving that black people need their reparations with this kind of study. Saying that just because black people exist, you're being treated differently. And that treating you differently messes with you on jobs or trying to get a job, messes with you on housing, law enforcement, all these different people that mess with black people based off of just what this study says. So it's just more proof that why we need to keep hammering home reparations. Reparations or no vote to these candidates. Don't back off of reparations. Don't back off. Because everybody kind of shifting to talk about Biden's crime bill. Yes, that's important. But the reparations has to be the conversation. Charge Biden up. Make him say no to reparations like you did Bernie Sanders. Charge them all up when it comes to reparations. And we don't want to hear them about you trying to study it. No, we all didn't study reparations. We need our reparations. It's just that simple. All this, studying about, okay, this is a study you did out of the University of North Carolina about racism. So we got a study from a reputable university. That means that needs to be put in the record for the quote unquote study you're saying. So you can go ahead on and pay black people what you owe. You owe black people reparations. You do. Because everything you have done to us, we didn't ask for any of that. And we didn't commit no crime to deserve that other than just existing. Well, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular story. But I'm going to repeat this again. All these studies that's coming out, all things they're showing, keep hammering home reparations. Reparations is not something that you're asking for. You don't need permission from anybody in no comment section. If they black and they're against reparations, say, okay, well, let's just turn your name in when it's time to get paid for reparations so they don't cut you a check at all. And if you're trying to explain something to others outside of the community, it's nothing to even discuss. Because when it's something for them, they go get it.